Hey, Debbie, I need your help. I've been falling in and out with God, and just recently I found God, and I've been dedicated and having a burning desire to be pure in God's eyes. I claimed to be Christian before, but I didn't follow God's law. Now I've been chosen to be celibate until marriage, but my fiance doesn't want it. She's a Christian too, but doesn't have the conviction as I do. We've been in a relationship for over 5 years, and we've had sex throughout the relationship until recently. We also have a 3-year-old daughter, and there's only 5 months left until our wedding day. And I can't find any information that matches my situation. I need help. And also, my celibacy was not planned. It was a conviction recently, finding God and really trying to be pure in his eyes, even though I was raised Christian. My Christian fiance is not happy about my decision. Well, the sex is great. I tried to explain to her that the best way I could do this, I really wanted to be celibate until marriage. And thank you for defining celibacy versus abstinence. God bless. Thank you for this question because in just the situation, and I'm going to be praying for you to really get the clarity that you need. Let me just dissect this down. First of all, you said you found God and you have this burning desire to be pure. Thank God for that. Let's just stop right there and praise God for that. Now, you claimed to be Christian before, but you didn't follow God's law. Let me stop right here. A lot of people say they're Christians, but they actually don't know what it looks like to sacrifice, to really walk this out for God. It's like we pick and choose a part of the Bible we want to follow. And I am guilty of it. I am not judging anybody, but I will say there's a difference between being a Christian and really being a disciple and follower of God, meaning I am living this lifestyle and not just posting about it and not just going to church. Okay, so now that I've chosen to be celibate, my fiance doesn't want it. Stop right there. So now we're dealing with a misalignment. Okay, now we're dealing with a misalignment, and there's a wedding and a ring and a commitment that's already been made. And now there's this misalignment after making this huge decision to be married. She's a Christian too. Okay, so we're at least believing the same things, but she doesn't have any conviction as I do. Stop right here. So this is my thing. I would be heavily praying right now as a man, obviously disclaimer, I am not married. I do not have children. I don't know what that's like, but I am a believer. Please be praying for her spirit right now. Please be praying for your future marriage. Pray for your daughter. Pray for what you guys are walking into, not for her to have the conviction. Don't pray for that. But help her pray right now to the Holy Spirit that something breaks off of her eyes, that she can see that this is something we need. We need to understand how to walk pure, not just when we're single, but also when we're married. So we don't have the cheating, the scandals, the craziness, we can know how to handle our lust. So just because she doesn't have the conviction doesn't mean you stop praying. And as a man, you're supposed to be covering her spiritually anyway. So just because she may not be able to see it doesn't mean you stop praying. So they also said, I've been in a relationship for over 5 years. So that means, let me tell you this right now, that means y'all have a soul tie that's like this, okay? You're tied up, okay? And then it says, we have a 3-year-old. So it produced something, y'all, so you just tied all the way up. And a soul tie is basically, when you sleep with someone, it is not just a physical act. You are sharing spirits with this person. You are sharing good things, bad things, all of that. It is a tying togetherness. It's not just a physical thing. It is a spirit thing. So there is something in her that's in you and vice versa. They've had sex throughout their whole relationship. So now you're dealing with somebody. I dealt with this before. You're dealing with a situation now. Why would we stop? We're about to get married. So what? Let's keep this going, right? And we have a daughter. This is where it gets a little, I don't know if you live together. It sounds like you do, but you may not live together. I'm not sure. But there's only 5 months until our wedding day. I would stop. Let me stop right here. We can't say just because we put out the save the dates that this isn't a problem. You need to go into your marriage aligned. I'm not saying everything has to be perfect, but I will say this. Hopefully, with it being 5 months from your wedding, you have went and found counsel, good counsel for your marriage and your relationship. And one thing I would do right now is you have 5 months left. Hopefully, whoever is marrying you, you have talked about your issues, your vision for your marriage. What do you guys want to do? And this is a huge one. I would pay the money, scrape up some money and put it aside and go and get counseling about this issue, because this is not something to joke around and like whatever. So you have 5 months left. And one thing I would be really prayerful about is, God, please give me the confirmation that this is the woman for me. And hopefully she's doing the same thing. There should be some type of confirmation that shows that you two are supposed to be together, not because it's 5 months away and not because you have a daughter and not because you've been in a relationship for 5 years. I'm telling you this for facts. Now, I can't find any information. So right now, I'm just kind of talking right now. So the conviction is recent. And I was raised Christian, but my fiance is not happy about my decision because the sex is great. Let me tell you about something. When the sex is great, it will have you in situations that you don't need to. You need clarity right now. And the thing is, when you take away something that feels good, that's good to it just feels good to our flesh, you have to fight it. We're already fighting the flesh every day. And I do it too. Like I talk about my porn and masturbation and going back and forth with my ex-boyfriend, saying I was going to do it, saying I wasn't going to do it. So I understand. And I don't know if there was any slip-ups in here. He didn't mention it, so I don't know. But I will say this, she's not happy. I dealt with the same thing with my boyfriend. We weren't getting married, but he was like, if I can't have sex with you, I don't want to be with you. I've had multiple people tell me that. And so just because she's not happy with the decision, is she willing to walk it out, understand the purpose of it, understand why this is important for both of us to put up boundaries and not just let this go and just say, okay, well, I'm just mad at you and this is just how it's going to be. Put up boundary. And as a man, you're going to have to figure out your triggers, because this is something new. You've never done this before. So I would surround myself with community. I would consume content that's going to help you. I would watch my media intake, my music intake right now. And I would just be praying heavily for my soul and my spirit in this season, because marriage is nothing to play with. That is something that God takes very seriously. And I would pray that your marriage goes well. Now, the sex is great. I explained to her the best way I could why I want to wait until marriage. So this is the thing. Now you're trying to convince her like you're a salesman on this being a good thing. Let me tell you something. I don't know if your words are going to do it justice. And I'm not saying it won't, but I am saying you got to go into prayer. You got to get into community. And you also have to realize, is this the right person I'm supposed to marry? Because even as Christians and believers, we all grew up knowing you're not supposed to do it. You're not supposed to do it. And I get it. Most of us end up doing it, right? So you got a couple months. It also, one thing this is doing for your relationship is it's testing the fruits of the spirit. Are you patient? Are you going to love me? Are we going to have self-control? Are we going to be kind to each other, even though we're not able to, when we're frustrated, we just go into bed and do whatever we do? It's testing the true meaning of why you're together. Is it just for the sex? Is that really what's connecting us? And what I realized in some of my relationships, that is what connected us, is because we had that connection and it was so great and we didn't want to get rid of it. And I didn't have clarity on who they really were. And until I took that away, my eyes became clear. It clouds your judgment on who this person is. And I'm not saying this person is not good for you. I do not know. But I am saying, make sure you're testing that spirit and making sure that this is actually the partner you're supposed to be with. I can't say I know for sure if this is the right woman for you to be with. But I will say this. What happened to me is we ended up breaking up. I don't know what's going to happen to you. But I will say this. Please be prayerful right now. Please also surround yourself in community with men and also other couples. And also don't feel the pressure just because you sent out save the dates and this is about to happen and I'm about to get married. You got to make sure you're going into your marriage aligned on what is. And if you guys are going into this and you're already bumping heads over sex and over what's important or what our values are, that says a lot about what's to come in your relationship. There's going to be, you're going to go back and forth with your wife because, we all think differently. We're different people, but you definitely want to walk into it knowing this is something I really want to do. Why? Because I also want to honor you. By honoring God, I honor you. By you realizing that me being out here watching the porn, having sex with you, whatever it is that you're doing, that's not pure in God's eyes, it's not good for our relationship and our marriage. We already have been doing it for years. And yes, it's been great, but I actually want to do it God's way. Can we try to do it can we do it God's way? And if we can't, what happens now? And that I would be so prayerful right now over what is it you're supposed to do as a man, and also pray for her spirit. And then watch what she does. Watch if she actually, something in her spirit turns. Not that you're praying that she believes the same thing that you believe, but there's something in her spirit that says, okay, babe, let's really try to do it. I don't want to do this. I really want, we already know how we do. But let's see if her spirit, there's something that breaks off there's something. So you've been tangled up in this for so long. It doesn't mean that she could never end up coming on the side of, you know what, babe, I'm going to try to do this. I just don't know how to do this. And I think it's so responsible of you as her husband, soon to be husband, or maybe not. I don't know what's going to happen. But you leading her spiritually, clearly there's a need here that you're maturing on another level right before you're getting married. And this is only going to help you guide and lead her throughout the rest of your marriage and your relationship. And this also teaches your daughter that there are men that can wait and that are willing to wait, even if they haven't. So you're also setting that, you're breaking this generational thing that this is a thing that we just do. You just have, you just have sex, you have a kid, and you get married eventually, or you never do. So just remember, this is a generational thing. I would definitely be praying. I don't know. I also would possibly fast over something like this, because you want to make sure that you're walking into this alignment together. And there's a Bible verse that's Amos 3:3. Do two walk together unless they agree? A lot of people quote that verse, but it is so true. And when you're not aligned with someone, it is hell to be paid. There's even, they said in Proverbs, it would be better if you lived on the roof than, and I'm maybe misquoting this, but than to be in a house with a quarrelsome woman. You don't want your woman being mad. You don't want her. But also, if you realize that she's just like, no, I'm not trying to be with you. She's starting to resent you. She's starting to, because that's what I dealt with. My guy, he started emotionally being disconnected. We just weren't talking as much. You could tell that because this one element of our relationship that binded us so deeply was ripped, our relationship didn't stand the time. And any other man that I met after that, I stood my ground and it didn't align, it never worked. So you have to be prayerful right now before you walk down that aisle and get that confirmation. And I pray that both of you get the confirmation that you need, that this is the marriage that you're supposed to be in. And the best way you do that is with your prayer, possibly fasting, looking into scriptures, praying for her spirit, but also praying for you too, to withhold yourself and making sure that triggers and different things like that, but also community. I think not enough people talk to community to help them through these things. Don't do this alone. You're not alone. And when you get into a marriage, you shouldn't be isolated and alone. So I just thank you so much for sharing. You being open and transparent it reminds me of my situation. Unfortunately, it ended in a breakup, but actually it was a blessing, because I don't want any man that just wants me for sex. I don't want anybody that only wants my body. I need you to want all of me. And that body is something that comes later. It's a reward to you. And I know some couples that get married and they're fine. They're like, oh yeah, we did it and we didn't do it. So your story is just going to be different. But thank you so much. Please comment below what you thought. And if there's anything else that you want to talk about being sexually active, but also trying to hold off to honor and to live pure for God, please let me know. Thank you so much for watching Living Purified. My name is Debbie. I will talk to you next time. Bye.